Since her smash hit debut Wingspan, Elizabeth Hargrave has been one of the most in-demand designers in the biz, working with numerous publishers and co-designers to bring about games with innovative mechanics and a strong emphasis on naturalist themes, including AEG's most recent strategy release, Undergrove, a game of mushrooms and trees and cubes and cubes and cubes and some discs and some cardboard pieces here or there to make a more verdant and more sustaining forest. Deep in the forest, fungus and trees live in symbiosis, relying on the nutrients and chemicals provided from one to another to grow and flourish. Your job is to establish saplings at the intersections of mushroom tiles, placing and expanding those sapling roots to utilize the mushroom abilities they point to and have access to their sweet, sweet carbon for absorption, both climbing the carbon track for benefits and ultimately triggering the end of the game, but also growing your tree so that its roots can fully count for pinecone points at the end of the game. Turns consist of a single action, often flipping one of your 4 flavors of mushroom activation discs and spending potassium, nitrogen, phosphorus, and carbon to create new saplings, expand roots, the aforementioned absorption of carbon, using the abilities of mushrooms your tendrils touch, or resting to reactivate all 4 discs and generate some spare carbon cache. Solo plays effectively the same, but the adjustable AI deck drives 2 competitors that largely consolidate resources, takes up hot sapling spots, and populates the board with more mushroom tiles and carbon for you to consume. In either case, once someone tops the carbon track and claims a little tasty reward, one more round is taken and most points by way of tree tips, touching mondo mushrooms, and points from bonus scoring cards randomized and fulfilled throughout the game wins. So here's the scoop with Undergrove. I went in really wanting to like this game. Like, I was legit excited about it. It's got a cool theme, an interesting designer, and the transferal of resources via abstract cubes and the smog-like accumulation of said resources is so my jam. And the commitment to wood and paper-based products in the packaging, materials, and insert is right up my alley. And I just found it okay. Like, totally functional, but just fine. Strategically, aesthetically, it's well put together, but just okay, which feels doubly disappointing when otherwise you expected it to be a really great. Don't get me wrong, there is some originality here and some, albeit clinical, levels of fun to be had, and the packaging is very commendable. But overall, the game just feels kinda bland. Take actions. Almost all actions are an exchange of these tiny cubes, swapping colors for other colors, and the colors don't really have any identity or thematic foothold of their own. Yeah, each is associated with a different action, but because of the pretty neutral exchange rate, and that aside from carbon, these cubes are all produced in essentially the same way, there's nothing really to grasp onto or to care about. They don't feel like they're unique resources that you're juggling or investing in. They're just more cubes that you happen to accumulate and happen to spend. Same is true with the mushrooms. 4 different types, 4 colors of action icons to interact with them, but almost all of them are just clones of a couple different types and different mushroomy colors, which in a more streamlined and focused game wouldn't be an issue, but this is a meatier game with loads of text, rules, and abilities propounding depth, but in my experience, it's just flat. There are more and less efficient ways to play the game, and good sequencing can result in rarely having to rest, but it's perfunctory, rarely feeling creative, cunning, or dynamic. The strengths for the game lie in its commitment to ecology, both in representation, where clearly there's research to back up the systems on display, and again in the packaging. And the solo system is a thoughtful implementation of the game, so if someone did find this to be right up their mushroomy alley, this would be an easy game to recommend even if you were planning on playing primarily solo. But for me, it just doesn't make the cut. So in spite of loving some and at least liking most of Hargrave's prior work, and generally getting geeky about naturalist themes and mid-weight Euros being my gaming comfort food, Undergrove just never gave me enough to care. And as such, I don't think that it's going to be finding a spot on the shelf. And that's our review, but let me know, what are the games that you went in really stoked for, but it just, for whatever reason, didn't do the thing for you, or you loved the designer's prior work, and for whatever reason, it did not sing. Put it in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting, thanks for being such an awesome community. You know that I've been Jack for the Cardboard Herald.